KayFabe Smark Podcast. Welcome to the KayFabe Smark Podcast with Eric Todd and Brian Rampa, your smart mark source for news and opinions on the world of professional wrestling.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is December 2nd. You're tuning into the KayFabe Smark Podcast. We are live here on YouTube. Make sure you guys head on over to YouTube and like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can see when we go live and post videos. Watch our shorts, get involved, leave comments, and hang out with us. And make sure you guys hop on over to TikTok. We go live on there, currently streaming live on here. So if you're live in the chat, hit that like, hit that follow, and smash it all up, and let's have some fun with pro wrestling. Also, check us out on Instagram and Facebook. So with all that being said, we are here to talk AEW. But first, we got to talk to our buddy, Mr. Eric Todd. Eric, what's happening?
Oh, you know, same old. Some big news around our area, Brian. Our fans may know we live in Southeast Michigan, probably 2 or 3 towns over from each of us. Big school shooting happened this week.
Yes, terrible.
Little lunatic named Ethan Crumbly went up and shot up his high school, and it has been a fiasco around Southeast Michigan ever since. Tons of copycat threats, tons of schools shutting down for security reasons. So yeah, Southeast Michigan's just a shit ton of chaos right now.
Yeah, they canceled my kid's school. We're a couple districts away, and they canceled their school for today and tomorrow. They closed school. So just because I think enough parents were pulling their kids out, terrible thing. And I've got to try to loosely explain this to kids in elementary school. So you just do your best and loosely beat around the bush on that. But our hearts and prayers and all that go out to those families and everybody involved with that. It's a terrible situation.
Yeah, horrible situation. 4 people ended up dying. This kid's getting charged as an adult. He's a 15-year-old kid, and rightfully so, getting charged as an adult with terrorism, 4 counts of murder, 12 counts of felonious possession of a weapon. This kid's up the creek. We saw him over in Oakland County Jail wearing a turtle suit because he's on suicide prevention. It's a whole fiasco, Brian.
Yeah. Well, such positive news getting us going hot to trot, ready to chat about pro wrestling. Guys, if you're in any of the chats on YouTube, if you're in the chat here on TikTok, make sure you pop in some questions. We're going to play a little overrated, underrated here in a little bit. But first, Eric, do you have any news for us?
I do have some news, Brian. Surprisingly, since we just did a show last Sunday, I didn't think there'd be very much news out there, but lo and behold, there is. If you want to slap that ticker, we'll get right into it.
It's time for the news. Eric's going to take us around the world of professional wrestling news that he's scoured and scraped and searched Twitter and the Instagram and the dirt sheets for. Let's hear what he's got for us. What do you got?
All right. First things first, Brian. Nia Jax in the news, and the oh my God, I'm so shocked news. Nia Jax revealed that she's probably not going to wrestle again.
Well, let's be honest, she couldn't wrestle before.
Yeah, you hit that nail right on the head, Mr. Rampa. Nia Jax tweeted, LOL, newsflash, Lena is my real name. It's not another ring name. It's just my name. The name given to me at birth. Calm TF down, trolls. In all fairness, opponent crippler would be a solid front runner if I ever decided to wrestle again, but highly unlikely. So she's making it her decision to not wrestle again. My take on it is I don't think there's a company out there that would touch her with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah. The fact that nobody's interested makes it easy to believe that you don't have to go do anything now, do you? Maybe it's the best she takes time off, and maybe we figure out if we actually miss her. And we'll see if we go from there. I don't think I will care that Nia Jax is gone.
No, I don't think that's very sad news. There was some speculation going on about Triple H possibly breaking off from WWE and starting his own company. Dave Meltzer put a stop to that rumor real quick, saying he he being Triple H, has serious health issues, nor does he have the money to be able to start a company. Meltzer added, "This is too much to do about nothing." So if you got your hopes up, kids, about old Triple Nipple starting his own wrestling company, you're SOL. He's WWE for life.
Either that or he's going to go buy into AEW.
Oh, God, that would be a total win for Tony Khan, wouldn't it?
How much could Impact cost? Like $19? I mean, you could come in and you already got something started. There's already somewhat of a name, and you got a ring and stuff.
I'm sure he could buy the Ring of Honor catalog for about $40.
Hey, there you go. Ring of Honor is about up for sale. He could combine it all together. I mean, if he wanted to, he could do something. You're telling me Triple H hasn't met people in production and business that could help him get something started? Let's be honest. He did. But he's not going to do that.
I mean, one of the Bushwhackers just bought part of an independent promotion in New Jersey. So, yeah, Triple H could buy something if he wanted to.
Right. You can buy something, something to compete. Don't know about all that, but yes, he could buy something.
And, oh, darn, how is AEW going to survive this news? Big Swole is not renewing her contract with AEW, Brian.
Big Swole still wrestles for AEW, huh?
My thoughts exactly.
I mean, this is news to everybody here.
The quote from Big Swole is as follows. "So I took my leap, and after speaking with TK being Tony Khan, and AEW higher officials, we've decided not to renew my contract with All Elite Wrestling. This was a hard decision, but a needed one. I am grateful for their understanding and that we could mutually come to this agreement. I've enjoyed my time with AEW and wish them all the best." And then it turns out in later news that Swole's contract with All Elite did not end prematurely. Her deal was up at the end of November, and her contract just simply expired. So just making a big deal over
this is a much to do about nothing
situation. Yeah. Big Swole has a huge following, though. I don't understand why. Many a wrestling commentator and internet wrestling celebrities like ourselves have pretty much all agreed Big Swole couldn't wrestle her way out of a paper bag. So, yeah, I think she's lucky she got the 2 years she did.
Yeah, God bless. Maybe she should go and do something. Go wrestle on the indies. Go wrestle for Impact. I don't know. Maybe start a cooking show on YouTube. She can cook. I'm sure she can go find something to do.
There's lots of unemployed wrestlers to hang out with. You can do your own thing. You can start a podcast, Big Swole.
Start a podcast. Yeah, you can pop on ours. Come on over, Big Swole. Give me the third mic.
Beth Phoenix has taken to Twitter to announce that she will be leaving the WWE NXT commentary team following War Games. She wrote the following: "Ahead of War Games, I wanted to share that this Sunday will be my final night in NXT. I will remain part of WWE. I have made the choice to step away from the weekly broadcast booth to spend more time with my family." So Beth Phoenix wanting a little more Copeland love in her life.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be mad at that, and she's leaving on 100% perfect terms in that situation. She's going to go step away, go do something else, and when she comes back, she can walk right in whenever she decides to again, and her husband is Edge. So
right.
You can really
she
go
can
do whatever you want.
The hell she wants.
Whatever you want, wherever you want, whenever you want. Now, if she splits and bounces to AEW or something, like imagine the rumor mill then. Edge is going to join Christian. He's going to wrestle Luchasaurus. What a way to wrap up a career that would be.
I mean, at least it would get 6.5 stars from Dave Meltzer, and you could end on a high note.
All it has to be is on AEW, and it gets about 7 just in general.
Yeah, or Kenny Omega has to be involved in some way, shape, or form. 5.5 stars automatically.
5.5 stars right off the bat.
But with that being said, Brian, our final news story was our final news story. So that wraps it up for the news, and slap the ticker, and we can move on to AEW Dynamite right after our segment, Overrated or Underrated.
That was the news. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the news. We're going around the internet. We're scavenging and scouring over all the Twitter posts and all the internet drama. But that's what we got. All right. That's the news. Now we're going to play our most favorite game show.
Let's play Overrated or Underrated with Eric Todd.
That's right. We're bringing back the classics. Overrated or underrated with Eric Todd. I'm going to scroll him down here a little bit so we can get the full view of his beautiful background he spent so much time on. You got the overrated, the underrated. There he is. All right. Now, overrated or underrated? Ladies of wrestling.
This should be interesting.
Overrated or underrated? Ladies of wrestling. Up first.
Overrated.
Up first, Luna Vachon. Overrated or underrated?
Oh, no. Underrated big time. I preempted that strike right there, Brian. After seeing Luna Vachon's Dark Side of Wrestling, Vince and everyone in the higher ups back then, Luna didn't fit what they wanted as a Playboy model-esque wrestler. Luna was a little loony, if you will, and but as a talent, she was astonishing and never really accomplished what she should have. So Luna Vachon is definitely underrated.
Underrated Luna Vachon. Let's see what you got for this one here. Overrated or underrated? Medusa, Alundra Blaze, whatever you'd like to call her.
Oh, man. It's hard to really put your thumb on this one. She was one of the founding women in WWE as Alundra Blaze. I remember being just a little guy watching wrestling at my grandma's house and seeing Alundra Blaze flying around. Not too familiar with her work as Medusa, I am sad to say. But I'm going to say since she was one of the pillars of women's wrestling in WWE, I would say she's underrated. She deserves that credit.
Her work as Medusa was the exact same as Alundra Blaze. She just went to WCW and they couldn't use that name anymore. So they just moved on and called her Medusa for Made in the USA, Medusa. That was the breakdown for that and the old story with that. Overrated, underrated, Sensational Sherry, Sherry Martel, Scary Sherry. Where you at with Sherry?
Oh, man, I'm losing my reputation listing all these women wrestlers as underrated, but Sensational Sherry is up there with Luna Vachon, man. She is one of the most talented females to ever grace WWE's television screens there as a manager, as a wrestler, and she brought so much to the table. Everything she did with Randy Savage and Elizabeth and Shawn Michaels and beyond. And another wrestler that was taken from us way too soon, Sherry Martel, will always be underrated in my book.
Underrated Sherry Martel. See, I was digging deep with you just to throw you off here because we all know Eric's love for women's pro wrestling. So shaking it up here. Here's another wild one for you. Overrated or underrated? Trish Stratus.
Oh, Trish Stratus. She's gorgeous. She did a lot for the WWE, especially in the 90s, early 2000s. But I think she was tremendously overrated, Brian. I wasn't too impressed anytime really Trish Stratus was in the ring. I thought she was super hot as a teenage boy. I think every teenage boy did think she was super hot. But I think she gets way too much credit. People fawn over her performances in WWE, and when she makes her little comebacks here and there, people just flip their fucking wigs over Trish Stratus, and I think it's unwarranted because she's overrated.
I think it's unwarranted. Like she should come out and be like, I don't deserve this. I am overrated. I am overrated. Don't give me this, people. Last one, overrated or underrated? Lita.
You know what? Lita was talented, but Lita did not have the it factor in my book. I never thought she did. I thought she was athletic, but there's tons of performers out there that are athletic. I never really felt a connection. I never really wanted her to win or lose, but she's another one that people just fawn and fall over themselves all over to watch a match from Lita. And if she ever made a return, their wigs would split right in half. But I think she's overrated.
See, I think Lita gets it so much because of what she would do in the ring as a ladies wrestler, as a women's wrestler, a woman's wrestler, whatever. I get myself canceled here. The way that she would actually do moonsaults in the Hardy Boy-esque style that made them famous, that she adopted into her own style of wrestling, you know. And she was the alternative chick in wrestling too. You didn't see a lot of that. So she was like wearing the raver pants and looked like you'd catch her at a metal show on a Saturday night. It brought in a different aspect instead of the traditional woman that Vince made famous. Big hair, blonde, big tits.
Right. She was the Attitudes Era Sherry, kind of, and the being innovative and wrestling like a guy.
Right. She was your 180-degree opposite of Trish Stratus of what what women look like in wrestling. So there you go. That's your overrated or underrated with Eric Todd. I still haven't made an outro deal yet because I can't find that goddamn website still.
Well, I got one for you, Brian. This is just going to be a little fun one.
Oh,
a little extras segment. Overrated or underrated, Brian? Sable.
Oh, well, just like we just stated, big blonde hair and big tits, and that's all you needed to get over, especially in the 90s Attitude Era. Overrated as a wrestler. As a woman's wrestler, overrated. That's it. As simple as that. I'll be honest with you, even as just a Playboy model and all that stuff, I'd still put way overrated.
You know, Brian, I got a fake ID made just so I could go to the store and buy the first Playboy with Sable in it. And even then, Brian, she was overrated. That Playboy spread sucked.
Stinks on ice. Yeah, that was bad. It just wasn't, nothing about it was good. The whole thing was bad. I never cared for Sable. Now, if you want to talk, oh God, I can picture in my head and just Stacy Keibler. I mean,
Stacy Keibler, I was full on in love with.
Still am, my friend. I still am. My wife is well aware of this. Before we paint ourselves into a corner here, let's move on and talk about AEW and what happened. Dynamite. What happened last night on the December 1st edition of AEW's Dynamite?
Well, the first thing we noticed on AEW Dynamite on December 1st here was Jim Ross is not in the commentary booth. He's off getting himself better, getting his treatment, getting his radiations and all that for his skin cancer. So best wishes from us, best wishes from everyone at AEW on the show. JR hopefully will be back by the end of this month or beginning of next month.
Yeah, that was the first thing I noticed too, and I liked how they did what they did with the commentary booth as the night rolled on, and we saw that unravel there, that they kept kind of plugging and playing different characters inside there.
Yeah, to fill the third man spot, which I don't think they necessarily need three people in that commentary booth with Excalibur and Tony Schiavone maybe, but if they had, say, a Taz in there, they wouldn't need a third man. But that was the routine for the night, was for every match have a third man in the commentary booth. And our first third man in the booth was Hangman Adam Page joining Excrement and Tony and Schiavone for the Bryan Danielson versus Allen 5 Angels match.
I mean, this was a barn burner, folks. We were just set up for Danielson and 5. Like, wow, what could happen here? Could 5 pull it out and represent the Dark Order? Do you think this is... Come on, people. This was an opening WWF Superstars squash match is what this was. Straight out of the 80s, baby.
One positive thing about this whole thing they're doing with Danielson is Colt Cabana, he knocked his teeth out in Chicago. Allen 5 Angels is from Atlanta, and Bryan Danielson's going to demolish him here. Next week, they're going to be in Long Island, and the first Google search I pulled up is John Silver's from Long Island, so that will be Bryan Danielson's next opponent. And then they're going to... And then
at Winter is Coming, they're going to be in Dallas, which I know is not where Hangman is from, but you have Dallas, Cowboys, Texas, the cowboy shit, etc. and so on. So yes, they're doing a little hometown rally, if you will, representing the characters that are getting their teeth knocked out.
Right. This match, Brian, I'm not digging what the superstars in this company, the superstars being Bryan Danielson and CM Punk, who we'll later talk about. I'm not really digging the way they want to do things here, just because they think other shitty wrestlers are cool. Danielson apparently wanted to get 5 Angels over here and let him get in way too much offense for my liking here. Danielson should have put this fool away in less than 3 minutes, in my opinion.
Yes, I did feel that at some point during the match there was a turnover that I went, okay, we've hit this. But in the beginning for me, the little bit of offense that he got in was fine. But what I liked is that it seemed like Danielson was toying with him. So there was some pace. He was taking his time. He was working the angles and just toying with him during the match and kind of showing off and taunting Adam Page up at the announce booth. That's the way I took it at the beginning.
And that was how this thing was done right. So I feel Danielson shouldn't have tried so much to get Alan Angels over by giving him so much offense, but he did it in a sense to where he was, just like you said, toying with him, where you felt Danielson could take back control anytime you wanted. Alan Angels is incredibly athletic. A lot of the moves he did in here was impressive, but he's another one who just doesn't have the it factor. He's a mid-carder for life. If he was in WWE, he'd be enhancement talent for life.
For life. What? Actually, to jump, well, never mind. We'll move on. So, yeah, keep going here with this. I agree with you on that. But when did it take over and when did it cross over for you that it was like this has gone way too long? Was there a certain moment, or is it just you just got bored with the match?
I essentially just got bored with this match. We all knew what the ending was going to be. There was no anticipation of, is Angels going to pull this thing out, although the commentary team would like us to think that. But Angels continuously escaping out of Bryan Danielson. First things first, the single leg crab, at one point an arm bar. Just Alan Angels just always can find a way to get out of one of the best submission wrestlers' moves, and it just didn't make sense.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I was just looking here. Oh, how do you feel about Danielson's heelish turn that he was working really hard in this match? He was working that angle of the heel turn where he's posing a little more. He's being way, way more cocky during this whole match overall. And I think it's just something that's a necessary evil to work with Adam Page, who is so over as the good guy.
Yeah, Adam Page is super babyface. Bryan Danielson just always, heel or babyface, he's always just been a cocky wrestler who feels he can do whatever he wants to whoever he wants whenever he wants. So since Danielson already has that cockiness about him, just breaking the knob off of it and turning it up a whole bunch of notches to turn yourself heel, it just seemed like Danielson did it naturally. It didn't seem forced whatsoever.
That's hilarious because I'm looking over here to my left is my notes that I've got up here in my Google Docs. And it says, this is what I wrote, Danielson's heel turn is great. I don't feel like it's forced. It's his cockiness naturally turned up to 11. I literally wrote that.
We're not in the same room, people.
We're almost not in the same county. So, yeah, it was but I just felt the same way, so I was curious on how you felt. I thought that could be an interesting debate or an argument here, but clearly just two guys agreeing on the internet about wrestling, so we'll move on.
Very suspenseful. Again, I'll give Angels props on his athleticism here. pretty flawless dive through the ropes, hitting Danielson, and then immediately popping up to that second rope on the outside of the ring and doing a moonsault onto Danielson. Again, super athletic. At this point, we're reaching the end of this thing where we got to take it home, boys. Danielson could have ended it with the knee, but with the knee to the face, as he always does. But being heel, Bryan Danielson has to stomp Alan Angels' face in about 8 or 9 times, and then putting a knee bar on him and holding it for an extremely long time. Referee can't do anything about it. Just watching Angels writhe in pain as Danielson tears his MCL, I believe he says.
Yes, and then he says the crowd had no idea what an MCL was. He taunts the crowd after this on the microphone. He's posing while he's got him in the knee bar. He just really cranked it up, saying, he's the best in the world and at what he does. So I dig this Bryan Danielson heel turn, switch over gimmick that he's got going on. Very good. He's handling it very well. It doesn't feel forced. But you're right, the match got that Cody Rhodes treatment. We've talked about Cody Rhodes giving these underdogs the treatment and putting them through main event style matches when they are clearly enhancement talent at the moment and need to be treated as such. Because at the end of the day, we're trying to sell pay-per-views. We're selling pay-per-views, but we're selling ratings, we're selling TV time. And it's like, why are we going to watch these guys almost beat the guys, the pillars of your company? And, you've got number 5. Johnny 5 Alive is almost getting over on Danielson. You're like, but it's not even like that Rudy feel, right? Where Rudy was the underdog and you're like this whole big story built up for the underdog to finally come up and rise above and win. It's not that at all. It's just, hey, we're going to pick this guy, and he's going to almost get over on the champion, then he wins.
Right. It's supposed to be Danielson just plowing through Adam Page's homeboys, all the scrubs from the Dork Order here. But, it's turning more into...
Because when he goes to fight Adam Page, what's it going to look like?
Right.
He just gave 20 minutes to number 5.
Exactly. And it's not like, just like you said, I wanted to touch on, you said it doesn't have the Rudy feel to it because Alan Angels isn't over.
No.
People, these weird fans love the Dark Order, but Alan Angels as an individual is not over. Nobody gives a fuck if he wins or loses.
Not a lick. So yeah, it's a weird situation that they have that they do with this, and it is what it is. But we'll move on and keep talking about this here.
Right. To wrap this thing up, Adam Page leaves the commentary booth to talk some trash to Bryan Danielson here. John Silver rushes the ring. Danielson bails as his chicken shit heel gimmick allows him to do. We get a little teaser with a face-to-face of Danielson and Page. Danielson teases that he's going to slap the taste out of Page's mouth here, but does no such thing, and it's the end of that.
I had a feeling that you were going to dig a little deeper into Bryan Danielson kind of burying Johnny Hungy. And, we know how much you have such a fame and love for Johnny Hungy! But because he he comes out of the ring, right, and he goes, I'm not going to get in here. This guy's a joke. He's beneath me. Who is this guy? And he walks away from him.
And, just like Bryan Danielson won't share the ring with a joke like John Silver, I will not share airtime with a joke like John Silver.
But yeah, I thought that was interesting enough, the way that there was a little bit of this guy's a joke, but I know it's a cockiness thing, and it's the bad guy, chicken shit heel. Before we move on to the next match or anything else, I have a question for you, being a Jim Cornette guy. In the front row of this show, you see a guy holding a sign that says, Corny loves Sprite. Is there any story to that?
Corny loves Sprite.
Oh, literally? That's all it is?
Yeah, so Corny drinks Sprite Zero, absolutely loves it, and he bitches, I would say, every other podcast that it's almost impossible to find in 12-ounce cans, so he has to drink the little 8-ounce fuckers, and he hates it.
I just saw a sign that says Corny loves Sprite, and I was like, either he hates it. So this are the two options with Jim Cornette. He absolutely despises it, and he's mad at Sprite for something, or it was an absolute 100% love. So I didn't know if somebody was mocking him or joining him. There's no gray area with Cornette.
No, it's black or white, but he loves his Sprite Zero.
Well, there
and
you
all
go.
he can get is 8-ounce cans.
Well, I was curious about that and which way it would go. So now we'll move on. We get a little tease up of what the match is coming up, and Excalibur, sounding like the exquisite commentator he is, he says, coming up, we will see CM Punk. And as a guy who does a podcast, as a guy who is a DJ speaking on microphones, you don't want to see CM Punk. You may want to say, coming up next, we have CM Punk. After these messages, we will, but...
Or we will see Lee Moriarty take on CM Punk.
God bless. Any of those, but he sounded like a real douchebag with the CM Punk. It was like, how many times do you say the same sounding word in the same sentence, you moron? Anyways, I know it's very minor, but it was a Excalibur flub, and God love him.
Excalibur, a master of the mic skills, as always. And as you so eloquently pointed out, we will see CM Punk right here take on Lee Moriarty. And we've got MJF taking a spot in the commentary booth right here next to Excrement and Tony Schiavone.
Yeah, we have the whole point of this. I have my notes here. The whole point of this match, and we'll break it down a little bit, is that MJF is on commentary.
Right. That's about the only important factor of this match.
Only important factor. And that CM Punk is in the ring and MJF is on the commentary. And then the middle of it is just a filler until the beginning and end of the story. We had we had CM Punk coming out wearing a Lars Frederiksen t-shirt. That is the lead singer of Rancid. I figured you had no clue about that, Eric, so I figured I'd fill you in on that.
And aren't they the ones that sing Ruby Soho's?
Ding, 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 ding.
So, yeah, CM Punk, it's not a secret that he's a big fan of Ruby Soho. So, yeah, I guess he's just giving his homegirl props right there, right?
Yeah, I think he's friends with with Rancid as well, so we'll move on. But so this whole thing, I didn't take many notes on this match because, what happened? A lot of offense, a lot of defense, a lot of offense, a lot of defense. We got the Cody Rhodes treatment in this match, and there you go. Did you really think CM Punk was going to lose to Lee Moriarty?
Not at all. But before even the first wrist lock, Brian, breaking news, there's always been speculation of what the CM stands for. Is it Cookie Monster? Is it Chick Magnet? We find out that it is actually solidified. This is in cement. CM and the CM Punk stands for cooking meth.
I forgot about that line.
Yes, MJF putting the news out there that the CM stands for cooking meth. He loves calling CM Punk a meth head.
Meth head, PG Punk is a good one that he's sticking with. I enjoy all of those, and I am a CM Punk guy, so all of them very funny.
Yeah, but getting into this match, we got a taste of what this match was going to be from the very beginning. This match kicks off with Lee Moriarty getting a simple wrist lock on CM Punk here, and he just does a bunch of goofy twists and spins and dance moves, and he milks this wrist lock for 2 to 3 minutes on CM Punk, and it's immediately, oh no, what are we doing here?
Yeah. What we saw was CM Punk falling victim to the new school way of wrestling that has not been very entertaining and led us to talk a lot of shit.
Yeah. Punk almost appearing to just want to be one of the cool kids now. And apparently he's a fan of Lee Moriarty and really wanted to get him over, but he overdid it, Brian. It's just, and MJF picked right up on it. This could all be a work. This all could have been CM Punk wrestling like garbage just so MJF could get his commentary in. I don't know. But Punk has given Moriarty a ton of offense, a ton of pin attempts, and MJF's picking right up on it, mocking Punk. calling him PG Punk and picking him apart for his struggles against essentially a rookie.
Yeah, one of his quotes is, "Why is this match going on so long?" Lee Moriarty is a great performer, but I would kick his head in 3 minutes, I believe was something along those lines, or in less than 3 minutes this would be wrapped up. So, yes, even MJF comments, "Why is this going so long? This sucks." I said the same thing sitting on my couch.
Seeing Punk take control of the match with shoulder thrusts into the corner is like, ooh, exhilarating. It's just, come on. You just get your ass handed to you for 5 minutes straight, and then you give us 5 or 6 shoulder thrusts in the corner. And how are we supposed to get behind CM Punk at that point? It's by this point, people are flipping around the cable channel, seeing what else is on. There might be Canadian curling on CBC. Who knows?
Yeah, it was. It got a little long. This one I found more long and boring than Danielson and 5, but maybe it's because they were back to back.
Yeah. Punk. I read a quote recently that said he's trying to make his matches look more like fights than wrestling matches. So if he looks exhausted and winded, he takes that as a compliment that he's doing his job right. But he must have been doing his job, a hell of a job this time, because he was visibly winded and exhausted against Moriarty here. And if you didn't see it yourself, MJF was sure to point it out.
Yeah. Again, this whole thing is MJF on commentary to really push and sell their future fight at whenever the hell they decide to do it. Probably a pay-per-view, I would guess.
Yeah.
Or is
fight winner is coming?
Either winter is coming or the next following pay-per-view. I'm not sure yet. I don't think they've locked up a date as far as I can pull out of my head sitting here right now.
But we see Moriarty continuously rolling through crossbodies for pin attempts, rolling through hurricanranas for pin attempts. Moriarty just going ham on Punk here, landing a flurry of moves on him and getting a 2 99 100ths of a count on Punk. Punk kicked out at the very last millisecond. Punk virtually no offense in this match until he finally hits the GTS and puts Moriarty out. And MJF quick to interrupt CM Punk's celebration music there.
Yeah, interrupts the music, stops the sing-along, and then you get a little back and forth with these two. And some of the best parts of MJF's speech is he's going to be better than Piper in Portland, better than Brett in Canada, and better than CM Punk in Chicago. And that's a real kick in the dick.
Yeah. I really didn't follow this particular insult that MJF was throwing at CM Punk here, saying you call yourself the best in the world, but the only thing you're the best at is trying to get into Britt Baker's pants. We all know CM Punk is happily married, but I don't know if this was CM Punk always doing throwbacks to classic segments and whatnot. This just immediately gave me vibes of Sunny Days. Did you feel the same way?
Yeah, it did make me feel the Sunny Days comment. I don't know if Britt and Punk have a history. I don't know. I haven't done the research, so I'm sure somebody on the internets of the pro wrestling internet world in some squared circle Reddit will have an answer for us.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be somewhere. But Punk, his big comeback of this one is that he struggled with QT Marshall. He struggled with Moriarty because they are both better than MJF, and MJF knows it, putting using his own words against him there.
Yeah.
MJF saying he's going to win the Dynamite dozen battle royal for whatever the hell they're calling it. And then MJF also brings Larry into the mix, Larry being CM Punk's dog, saying that if he sees CM Punk's dog Larry around the arena again, he's going to be sure to put him to sleep. And that's one way to tug at the audience's heartstrings, threaten an animal, and you're a heel for life in their book.
Heel for life. It made me think, was this something on BTE that we probably missed where there was a dog backstage and CM Punk had his dog, or is it just known that he travels with his dog?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm
going to be honest with you. No fucking clue.
I just rolled with that one. I figured I missed something by not watching Being the Elite or watching some weird Dynamite Dark backstage segment hidden on YouTube that I had to pay $1.99 for.
I'm sure there's something about it. But Punk just trying to keep the heat going, goes after MJF. Wardlow makes the save, stepping in between them, and it's a wrap. And speaking of Britt Baker, we immediately go backstage with Britt Baker with her two cohorts, Reba and Jamie Hayter there. Britt Baker complaining to Tony Schiavone about Riho, and we get a little trouble in paradise, bickering between Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker, picking at each other for losing matches and whatnot, and pretty run-of-the-mill segment for these folks.
Pretty run-of-the-mill. It's just to me, it's always been a win, not an if. They break these guys up and rearrange the group because eventually they're going to want that title, right? The people that she's running with are going to want the women's championship. And I think you're seeing the planted seeds of that with Jamie Hayter in wanting to become her own woman and take on the women's champion and go for the title, because you had the beginning, you had the little bickering, and at the end of it, it's the most minor thing, but it caught my eye. Jamie did not do the DMD.
But Tony Schiavone did.
Tony, Britt, and Rebel, they all did it. But Hayter stood there with her arms crossed and didn't do the gimmick. So I just take it as we're going to see a little future feud with these two, but we'll let time unravel on that. Like you said, very basic, but I had to pull something out of that. That's what I picked out of it. And
and this next segment here kind of confused me, Brian. It was Adam Cole. We see the big Adam Cole entrance. We hear his music blaring. He's making his way down to the ring. In the ring, he's walking around, and Adam Cole gets both of his boom and his Adam Cole Bay in, and then just gets out of the ring and walks to the commentary booth.
Yeah, if you listen
close, a little overdone.
If you listen close, you hear Tony Schiavone put him over real quick. He goes, Adam Cole's coming out. He's going to do commentary with us, and the music hits, and he walks past him, and he goes, "Oh, he must have to go do his thing in the ring or whatever. You know, he's got to." And then he points and he goes back to commentary. But yes, for a commentary spot, he got a lot of time in on TV.
Yeah, I must have missed that little
it was just
tidbit there.
So I knew he was doing commentary, but they went through a lot of rigmarole to get him in that commentary booth. And then he comes back and he's sitting there at commentary, and who comes out to join us?
Yeah, Adam Cole going through the whole rigmarole, getting his entrance in and everything to do commentary, and then he doesn't even get to do commentary, Brian, because the Pixies come onto the radio here, or onto the sound system, and out comes Orange Cassidy to stick his stupid hands in his pockets.
Yeah, this spot was a very forced segment, a very forced gimmick in the middle of this show that they had going on, and they shove Adam Cole in. He does a dance. He does his song and dance. He comes up. Now Orange Cassidy comes out. They're jaw-jacking. I use the term loosely, jaw-jacking with each other with their hands in faces, hands in pockets, and then the Young Bucks come out and mock him and give him a bunch of light super kicks to the back and to the face and everything else.
This was incredibly forced. That was a very good point you made in there. This was just to get Orange Cassidy, Adam Cole, and the Young Bucks on TV. That's all this was for. It was all just forced. It was contrived. We get a pocket spot. We get fake kicks galore. We get super kicks. And then we get a tease of a BTE trigger. And we get the stupid, the new best friends, Schmuck Taylor and Wheeler Yuta coming out to make the save there.
Yeah, and that's all that was for. They couldn't have figured out another place to get this in. They couldn't have put that on Being the Elite.
Yeah, that Just had to put him on TV. It must be in the Bucks contract. Is the only thing I can think of. We have to be on every episode of Dynamite. Next was a pre-tape for Tony Nese cutting a promo on Guevara. And be honest with you, Brian, I had no idea who Tony Nese was when he was talking. It said it on his shirt, so I just assumed that was the Tony Nese guy I've been hearing about.
Yeah. Who cares? I don't even want to, like, bitch about it. It was just like, oh, cool, that guy is going to eventually come do something. Wonderful. Stop sitting in the audience and stop making promos that I should be excited for about a guy I've never heard of to come show up and wrestle.
Yeah, we'll probably catch heat on that. I'm sure he's been at 900 independent shows and does 980 split flips and all that, but who cares? The next segment, as boring as it was much more entertaining, and I'm talking about Wardlow taking on the likes of AC Adams.
Whoa! Here's my notes for that. I have one line. This match was a squash match. It meant nothing.
Correct. We just wanted to get Wardlow on TV.
Again.
I think they're trying to feel him out to see if he's works better as a heel or a babyface. Crowd popping like crazy as he hits the jobber with 4 or 5 power bombs, gets the pin, and then Shawn Spears has to show his ugly mug on TV and beat down the jobber with a chair.
Yeah,
because he's the chairman, Brian.
He is a chairman. He loves chairs. He sits in rooms full of chairs. He's the chairman of the board. He hits you with chairs. He carries chairs. And at the end of the day, nobody cares about his chairs. I hate the way that he wears his beanie. Boy, does it bug me on how far back he pulls that thing down the back of his neck. It just rubs me the wrong way. Shawn Spears and that stupid beanie stretched over his big fat head drives me nuts. So fuck him and his beanie.
Yes. And after finding out that he is married to one of the Iconics, I would love nothing more than to remove his beanie with a baseball bat.
And we move on to now we get a tag team match, right?
Oh, you wish, Brian. We get another backstage segment with Penta El Cerro Dinero, Pac and Alex backstage talking with Tony Schiavone here. And it turns out Pac is going to be wrestling in place of Rey Fenix because Phoenix is injured or can't travel, or be honest, I wasn't really paying attention.
He was lost. Nobody knows. He doesn't know where he's at. Andrade Idolo changed his plane ticket again and sent him to another location.
Whatever. So the big announcement is tomorrow night on Rampage, we are going to see FTR versus Penta El Cerro Dinero and the Bastard Pac.
The one-eyed Bastard Pac.
Look into my eye.
Look into my eyes. He got black mist spit in it, and now he cannot see out of it.
Yep. Keeping those old school wrestling tropes going. Next, we do get a tag team match, Brian. We get Billy and Colton Gunn, the Gunn Club, taking on Darby Allin and Sting. Darby Allin with his entire face painted this time.
Yes, and Sting with his face like remixed with the Crow Darby Allin skeleton style thing they got going on together. The commentators, out of anything that AEW ever talks about, they never mention that Sting changed his face paint. Sting has not changed his face paint in about 25 years. And now we're not going to talk about it. He's had the Crow Sting going since like 97. And that's it. He changes his face paint. They don't even bring anything up. Like, look, they look unified as a team. They didn't bring any. They commentate on everything else. They mention everything else. And the best part of this match was Sting's face paint. They didn't mention it.
And maybe you can help me with this one. But right as Sting's music starts, right as Sting and Darby Allin are about to come out, Schiavone just screams, "It's been 14 years." Any clue? Did Sting and Billy Gunn fight 14 years ago?
No,
maybe?
Sting and Billy Gunn never fought. Sting was WCW and Billy Gunn was WWE. Like, they were DX. And so the only thing I can think of is that they were actually in Atlanta, Georgia, which was WCW's hometown, home stomping grounds was Georgia and Atlanta. TBS, the whole nine, right? So the only thing I can get is the last time that they'd been in Atlanta together was 14 years ago.
Which would be 2007.
That was 2007? Yeah. Okay, then I have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, so I don't know. But this time on commentary, we've got Taz joining the commentary, and standing behind him, just looking menacing, we have Hook and Willie Hobbs.
And Hook is eating a bag of chips like an asshole.
Hook is an asshole. And not in a heel way. He's just a fucking jerk off.
Bing bong. Fuck yourself. Fuck your life.
Fuck your life. This thing starts out, this is all about Sting and Darby here. We're getting Sting and Darby over all day. And Darby just completely taking Colton Gunn to school for a solid minute and a half, forcing him to get his daddy in there. And then Darby immediately tags Sting. And then we have a combined ring age here of, I believe we are looking at 120 combined ring age, but we can't, with Billy Gunn and Sting.
But we can't deny Billy Gunn for being in his mid-50s, looking like $1 million.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You take Billy Gunn never has a shirt on when he wrestles. Take Sting's shirt off, and you'll definitely get a great comparison right there.
Yeah, my thought on this tag team match was that it should have been Colton and Austin Gunn, and Billy should have been on the outside. Billy is Billy. What does Billy Gunn need? As good he can still go, he can still wrestle. I guess, was it the Sting, Billy Gunn, young kid, veteran thing on the outside, kind of like a mixed tag match? But my thought is that they need to be putting the young Gun Club over, and Billy just needs to be the manager, sometime third man tag team match, 6-man tag match, interference type thing. I don't think he needs to be in there. He needs to be getting his kids over. His kids need to be getting over. They want to be a tag team.
Right. I don't know if Austin is taking some time out of the ring because he caught some heat from something he said on Twitter 7 years ago.
Oh.
But
I didn't watch that.
I don't know. And he's talking about sensitivity training and all that jazz. So I don't know if Austin's taking a step back out of the spotlight, but I'm going to go with reason number one that you said, Brian. I think it was we got to see the legends out there. We got to see Sting and Billy Gunn go at it.
Yeah, the Hall of Famers. They're both in the WWE Hall of Fame, I believe. But we shall move on and keep talking about this. It was just all about, like you said, putting over Darby and Sting. Do we really think the Gun Club's going to get the W over them here? This is a very predictable episode of AEW Dynamite.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. The commentators really putting it over that both of these teams were undefeated. So who's going to take the first L? I'm pretty sure everybody knew who was going to take their first L.
Yeah, Excalibur states, this has a big fight feel to it. Again, this is another Excaliburism. A big fight feel. Why does a mid-card tag team match that's a mixed tag team with two guys that are in their late 50s have a big fight feel? There's no title on the line. There's no career on the line. There's no hair on the line. There's nobody even got a clothesline. This thing had nothing to do with anything for a big fight feel. It was barely a fight.
Maybe Excalibur saw two senior citizens fight in Japan one time, and the crowd clapped. So he's just giving them flashbacks of senior citizens wrestling in foreign countries and big fight feel.
Sure, wonderful. That stunk.
There was a little bit of psychology trying to go on in this thing because Darby Allin was all over the place, and to see him finally get stopped by Billy Gunn just using nothing but raw power, I don't know, it kind of gave an aspect of realism where Darby Allin can bounce all over the place and kick everybody's ass, but once you run into a brick wall as big as Billy Gunn, you're really not going to be able to do anything else.
Yeah. At some point in this match, too, Darby split his dome open there, cracked his wig piece, and I'm not sure when it happened, but he had a little red mohawk, a little red rooster going on there.
Yeah. But, Yeah, that happened or must have happened in this next segment here. Stinger's got a scorpion deathlock on Colton Gunn. Billy Gunn is distracting Ref Aubrey at this point so that Austin can hop in the ring, give Stinger a nice right hand to the face to break up the submission. And immediately after that, Darby Allin cannonballs Austin Gunn on the outside of the ring at about 89 miles an hour. Billy Gunn hits a famouser on Sting, and Colton gets a 2 count. Billy Gunn is outside the ring at this point. Darby Allin cannonballs Billy Gunn right through the ropes. So it had to be one of those two spots where Darby Allin hit his head on a rail or the floor or something. But yeah, definitely split right on the top of his head.
Yeah, he's always flying around, so it's hard to catch it when he hit himself. So it was, but you noticed it. They didn't really mention it too much in anything and didn't involve it in any type of storyline. But I did notice that and was trying to figure out when it exactly happened. Yeah. My next note on this match is Sting seems to believe all the hype that they put over him in this make-believe wrestling. It's predetermined wrestling. You're gonna put guys over. You're gonna do what you're gonna do. I understand all that. I'm not mad at it. Been watching it for years and still watch it. Clearly, doing a show about it. You're listening to it. You still watch it if you're listening to the show and you're watching the show. But Sting walks around like he's really gonna beat up Austin Gunn or Billy Gunn. It's not gonna happen. It's just that weird. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a difference between wrestling and then there's a difference between him being I'm Sting, pounded on his chest, and he's I just don't buy it from Sting.
I think you're shitting on him just a little too much. I think Sting's doing a good job. They put all the hype in the world on him, and he is living it up. He is basically just living up to what the commentators are putting on him. No, it's not believable one bit whatsoever. Any smart fan's not going to believe that senior citizen Sting can really suplex Samoa Joe, but yeah, I think Sting's he's a professional, and they want him to be a wrestling god in that ring, and that's what he's going to do.
Well, look at this. I made Eric defend Sting from an AEW show. I apologize about all this for attacking Sting too harshly. It's just the way it's being sold to me is it's just oversold, I think, is the problem. Whether he's selling it, they're selling it, they're just putting it over just a touch too much for me. But we can continue on. We don't need to talk about this sore subject of Eric defending Sting and me attacking him too harshly here. We'll continue on this match.
Yeah, hashtag cancel Brian attacking old men. But to wrap this match up here, I'm so tired of this finish, Brian. I'm so tired of when Sting and Darby team up that they both have to do their stupid moves. Darby hitting the stunner on Colton Gunn, Sting hitting the Scorpion Death Drop on Colton Gunn. Sting gets the pin on Colton for the win.
1, 2, 3, we move on. Sting, believe in his own hype. Here we go. We're moving on. Talking about believe in hype. We're going backstage, right?
We're going backstage to Alex Marvez, my favorite backstage interviewer.
Yes, talking to Jericho.
Yeah, he's getting ready to talk to Jericho here. Jericho goes on a spiel that I don't care about, and luckily it's ended quickly when 2.0 and Jerry Garcia jump the shit out of him, hit him with chairs, throw him into cases, and throw him into the garage doors, and it's enough to put Jericho out of action, so he won't be on Rampage on Friday.
Why are we still hearing the name Garcia? I don't even know his real name. We always call him Jerry Garcia here, and I don't know his real name. And 2.0 is a tag team. Why is these names coming out of Jericho's mouth? Why are they still getting TV time? Is there something I'm missing? And I know the answer is you are going to have no idea because you probably absolutely hate him more than I do. But I don't get it. I don't get it.
My only speculation is that 2.0 was a tag team in NXT who the fans seem to have loved in WWE did not like him whatsoever and gave him the boot prematurely in a lot of people's eyes. And then, I think his name's Daniel Garcia.
There you go.
Daniel Garcia and his High Sox were just very much loved on the independent scene. And these fans, these AEW fans, just bust nuts all over their bellies thinking about these independent wrestlers. So the fans love them, and Tony Khan wants to give the people what they want, I guess.
So this is another constant message of the fuck you to WWE. Like, look what you let go and look what we made. Like, you're really going to find another Cody Rhodes inside of the 2.0 tag team. I didn't even know they were on NXT, and they were so beloved.
I can't tell you their old team name, to be honest.
1.0. Who gives a shit?
So, yeah, for some reason, they're still getting a ton of TV time. I haven't noticed, even with the audience, that they're super over at all, even within the AEW world. But Tony Khan just shoving them down our throat, hoping one day we'll bite, I guess.
Yeah, he can bite me. Yeah, so what the hell were we talking about? Oh, yeah, that happened. Jericho's taking some time off. He's taking a vacation for the holidays, so he needed to get beat up backstage. And we move back out to the main commentary area, I believe, right? We're talking to Taz again?
Oh, yeah, we're talking to Taz Rooney, and out comes Lio Rush. And my Google skills just showed me real quick that 2.0 used to be known as Everrise.
Oh, cool.
But Lio Rush comes out, and he cuts a promo on Team Taz, and pretty much the point of this promo...
Does he cut a promo, or did he just ramble word vomit into a microphone and you didn't see what you get? Like, he put alphabet soup into a bowl and spun it around and said, I'm going to say these words on TV. Like, that was terrible.
Well, he did manage to put together one sentence, Brian, and he put that sentence together multiple times on the level of 4 or 5 or 6 times probably. Lio Rush, I am a fighter.
Yeah, that he hit like a little gimmick there. He hit a little thing, got a reaction from the crowd, and ran with it like a 2-year-old that said a funny joke and repeats it over and over again. Just don't be so proud, AEW, that you don't use writers.
Yeah, it's not always a good thing. Creative freedom for the talent.
You can have
always a good thing.
You can have creative freedom. And Lio Rush, I've heard him talk. He can deliver very well. When he was the mouthpiece for Bobby Lashley for a hot second, it was very well done in WWE. When he comes out and you can tell something has been brewed through his brain and he's taken a second, take a second, write some stuff down, run it past somebody, and change it, and then come out and deliver it. But just to be like, man, I got this. No, you don't.
I'm a fighter.
You did not. You did not have it. You sounded like an idiot. Taz sounded like an idiot, but unfortunately, Taz talks himself into a corner. When Taz knows what he's supposed to say, it sounds amazing. It sounds great. Taz can deliver it when he has something planned and lined up. Freestyle off the top of the dome, Taz, sounds like a stuttering, muttering prick. Yeah. So this thing was just like, oh, yeah? No. Yeah? Yeah, I'm a fighter. Well, I got he came and signed with me, and Hook said so. And so, what are we talking? I'm a fighter. It was like soap opera acting. It was bad.
Oh, it was terrible. And then we get a little face-off between Lio Rush and his old protege. Fuck, what's his name?
Fucking dickhead McGillicuddy. I can't tell you.
Light-skinned Larry, who signed with Team Taz, is no longer hanging out with Lio Rush.
Fuck him and everything that it stood for. That segment sucked. We're arguing over a guy we can't remember his name. Right?
And we're going to catch heat for that one.
Who cares?
He
sucks.
Fucking love this guy.
He was from the raver dancer guy, right? And then they fucking dance around like idiots, wear the green pants, or am I confusing two different guys?
You're confusing two terrible tag teams.
Oh.
This is the guy from Top Flight. He's the younger brother. The
older
brother's
yeah.
Right now.
I was thinking of the other guys from Top Flight. Who cares? Where'd the other guy from Top Flight go?
This is the guy from Top Flight who can do athletic shit and he can flip and soar 38 feet in the air, but you put a camera on him and he shits his pants right there on camera.
I'm nervous. I'm gonna go. He can go stand by Hook, and he'll look like a professional.
There we go. But moving on, we spent way too much time on that terrible segment.
Oof.
We got to get to the next terrible segment,
Yeah.
Brian. And this next terrible segment is Jade Cargill just mugging for the camera, talking about God knows what with her manager. And Thunder Rosa comes in because she's taking Chris Jericho's spot on Rampage to do commentary. And she chose the match she's going to do commentary on will be Jade Cargill fighting Thunder Rosa's friend. And then Thunder Rosa cuts a promo on Jade Cargill in Spanish. It was
my notes.
mind-numbing.
Yeah, my notes on this, it says Jade Cargill, Thunder Rosa, vomit emoji. And that was the notes I had on that. I think I summed up everything that I needed to say with that.
Your notes were much more accurate than mine. It was vomit-inducing.
Yeah. And then what I can't believe that we're still watching is this TBS Women's Championship tournament is still going on. We're only in the quarterfinals, Eric.
I swear this thing's been going on for at least 7 or 8 months at this point.
Well, when was their
like
pay-per-view?
eternity.
Their pay-per-view that they just did was what, back in September?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe early October.
And we were hollering about it then. I thought it was going to happen. We're creeping up on Christmas.
And we're only in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I thought we were going to see the end of it in the last pay-per-view. When I was like, oh, that's still this match, or it happened in the pre-show. We're not even, the tournament is, I can't figure this out.
Yeah. Who cares at this point? I know I shit on women's wrestling a lot, so I'm not really the guy to go to. But after dragging this thing out for so long, they've had to have so many people lose interest.
They have 2 shows. We have over 4 hours. I'm just talking cable shows. We have 4 hours. They still do Rampage for 2 hours? Or they're back down to 1 now. They had a 2-hour special a couple weeks ago or something. All right, so they got 3 hours of TV on cable. And they haven't wrapped this thing up yet, let alone 2 YouTube shows.
Yeah. You're preaching to the choir, sir. I have no idea how this thing is still going on.
And this match wraps up, begins and ends, and you never see a graphic of the tournament brackets.
Yeah,
I don't even know.
They might have flashed one at the end, but I was already fast forwarding at that point.
No, I watched it because I made a note. I didn't see a goddamn tournament bracket graphic. Like, show me who's where and what. Like, this thing sucks.
Yeah, and so did this match, Brian. I love Ruby Soho as a personality. I think she's cool. I think she's an underdog. I think she was underutilized in WWE. I was actually excited to see her in AEW, but it seems like every match I watch with her fucking stinks, and it's probably not Ruby Soho's fault. It's probably these greenback wrestlers they put her in the ring with, but even Chris Statlander, who's okay, this match stunk. It was just clunky and awkward the entire time.
Yeah, I didn't really dig too deep into it either. It bored me, and I lost interest, and it had no... I was still blown away that we're still watching this tournament. I still can't get over it to this moment. And this match, then... And the whole thing with Ruby Soho is that, like, every time she wins, it drives me nuts, she has to look surprised. Like,
right.
She gets to... so drawn back that she won. Like, you're a professional wrestler. You know, act like you've been here before.
And that's the thing. That's the vibe she's given off because she came from WWE. She was a women's main eventer in WWE at one point, and she is overcompensating by coming to AEW, and these women in AEW who couldn't tie Ruby Soho's boots, she wants to give them all the respect in the world.
Everybody on this show last night, is getting the Cody Rhodes treatment. Everybody gets an hour and a half Iron Man match in a squash match that nobody cares about. Like, and in these predictable ass matches, it drives me nuts. Go ahead.
It's just, and even this one right here. So a couple weeks ago on one of the YouTube shows, I watched Ruby Soho wrestle indie wrestler named Charlie Cruel. I checked that one out because you and I had recently watched Charlie Cruel wrestle in front of literally 12 people in Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
And I heard she was wrestling Ruby Soho, so I wanted to check that out. That, extremely awkward, extremely clunky, but I expected it because Charlie Cruel wrestles in front of 12 people for a living. But Chris Statlander here, she is one of AEW's top female performers, but that's AEW. Compared to Ruby Soho, she's still green as frog shit. And it's clear as day in here that she just can't keep up with a true professional, a really trained, exceptionally well done wrestler like Ruby Soho. Just tons of clunky spots here. A lot of waiting around for cooperation to happen. We get a couple cool looking spots from Chris Statlander here just because she's a spot monkey wrestler, just like the Young Bucks. And that about wraps up this thing. That about wraps up this match. Clunky, awkward, a couple cool spots. Ruby Soho counters a Big Bang Theory for the pin.
There you go. 1, 2, 3. Boom, boom, boom. Nobody gives a shit.
No. And we still try to shove an afterbirth in this thing for some reason. 2 more people nobody cares about. Vicky Guerrero confronting Chris Statlander and Nyla Rose attacking Ruby Soho in the ring. Chris Statlander, because it's all about respect, Brian. Chris Statlander, even though she just lost to Ruby Soho, has to go make the save and chase Nyla Rose out of the ring.
Gotta respect your opponent. They showed real heart. I guess it's
and I don't know.
It just keeps the good guys back on good guys. You had babyface and babyface in that in the Ruby Soho Statlander match. So this has had to bring back to, even up this keel on baby, who's baby and who's heel.
Yeah, and this thing with Nyla Rose, it's just she's bigger than any of the other female wrestlers, physically bigger. They push her as a monster. She goes in there. She attacks Ruby Soho. Ruby gets no offense in whatsoever. But when Chris Statlander goes into the ring, Nyla Rose just bounces out of the ring like a chicken shit heel. I really thought she had more balls than that, but I guess I was wrong.
Literally. All right, we shall move on. I've had to pop you.
Moving on to our main event here, Brian. This isn't a Minnesota street fight. This isn't an El Paso, Texas street fight. This isn't even an Orlando, Florida street fight, Brian. This is an Atlanta street fight.
Atlanta street fight. Here we go. And I'm not going to lie, I am 100% digging Andrade's gimmick coming out on this match. His look that he had about him, my note that I had down, he looks like a millionaire serial killer from a movie. Very like he had that suit on and the mask and his bag of gimmicks there with the knives and swords and laptops and everything else. Very American Psycho, if you will.
Yeah, he comes out. I guess he's the bad guy Batman almost here. He's like the Mexican Bruce Wayne not Mexican, cartel Bruce Wayne.
There you go.
Here with his bag of gimmicks to do some killing.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. He had a different look to him, and it fit the thing. Cody Rhodes comes out and in his pomp and circumstance and the whole nine and the thing, but he didn't wear jeans, so this wasn't a real street fight.
Right.
Andrade came in street clothes, but he didn't come out but Cody did not come out in street clothes, so.
No, Cody came out in his normal wrestling gimmick, and Arn Anderson fell off the stage because he was in so much shock.
I have down here, Arn doesn't need to be involved in anything physical. He's too wobbly and falls over all the time.
Arn Anderson literally falls off the stage during Cody Rhodes' entrance. As Cody makes his way down and brawls with Andrade here, we see Andrade's manager, Jose, in the background helping Arn Anderson up. Rightfully so. The old man fell off the stage. Help him up.
Get the camera off
Not
of him.
not even 5 seconds later, we zoom in on Jose and Arn Anderson here, and then they're brawling off to the side. So thanks for helping me up, kiddo. Let's fight.
Shit. This was didn't start out on a good note. Not at all. With Arn falling over like a turtle on his back.
And then fighting the guy who helps him up. Yeah. This thing was all over the place. We start out with just straight up brawling in the crowd. We're getting garbage cans thrown on each other. Cody ends up with some weird substance on his back. At one point, it looks like peeled skin. On another instance, it looks like just slime. And we can't just let it go. Taz has to point it out. I love Taz because this is something Vince would be like, don't fucking mention it. But Taz is like, what the fuck's on his back?
Don't mention it. You would either say don't mention it or you would know what's on his back. We've all watched this. This is Thursday being recorded and Friday going live for most of you listeners out there over the weekend. Listen, he went through a flaming table. The end of the match, he's going through a flaming table. The substance on his back is so he doesn't burn the fuck out of his back. Nobody filled Taz in on this, and he fucking ruins the ending in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Now, I watched this after the fact, so I knew he went through the table. I was spoiled on that. I didn't get to watch it live. So I did know that was going to happen, and I saw it on his back, and I went, that's like an anti-burn
flame retardant gel. Yeah.
And then there you go. You get Taz. But what's that? Like, again, don't think not writing is a good thing, AEW. Don't think that.
Yes. So if you knew Cody Rhodes was going through a flaming table, it was clear that it was flame retardant gel. But if you were watching this show live, it's something that you just look and go, huh, that's weird. And then you forget about it if you don't have the commentators mentioning it.
But let's not forget.
Later on, you see Andrade has the same substance on his shirt.
Let's also not forget, my friends, that Tony Schiavone said maybe it was something that came out of the garbage can. God bless him for trying.
He tried.
He just tried to divert it away. Like, I don't know, maybe it was something that came out of the garbage can. Quit talking about it. Taz, what is that? He's like a kid. What is that? Shut up.
So, flame retardant gel to the side, spoiler alert. We finally brawl our way back to the outside of the ring. Cody flinging Andrade into the ring post at this point takes time out of his Atlanta street fight to go give a big old friendly hug to his buddy from the Go Big Show, T-Pain.
T-Pain. He's going to get low. All right. Who cares? T-Pain was there. Then
That's
he gave
Flo
him
Rida, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but T-Pain's featured on this. He does the hook.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So anyways, you got that. You got T-Pain there. He's from the Go Big Show. He hands him a chair. He hits him in the head with the chair. And who is there to tell him to stop hitting people with the chair? Who is there to say, stop dropping Cody Rhodes onto the steel steps? That's Paul Turner. The one time Paul Turner is enforcing a rule outside of the ring is in a street fight.
I'm at a loss for words, Brian.
It was driving
Paul
me
Turner
nutty.
Enforcing rules.
In a street fight. In a regular match, he just stands in the ring. Just stands there and waits, and people have a whole match outside of the ring, and then when they finally both get in the ring at the same time, he rings the bell. Ding, ding, ding. This match has already started, and he's like, stop, come on, stop. He's doing the ref moves of what refs do at one time, and he's, who cares? Why are you doing this? Why are you there?
In the one no-holds-barred match of the night, he wants to enforce rules.
Yeah.
Rules that don't matter. Rules that aren't rules.
Yeah, I mean,
Turner's a moron.
We can't fix that.
No way whatsoever. And Andrade, he's using everything in his arsenal. He's got gimmicks in his bag. He's beating Cody with a laptop computer. He's got handcuffs. He's got ropes. He's got scissors. He's got everything you can think of in that gimmick bag.
Oh, yeah, he's reaching into the bag of gimmicks way deep, and Cody's getting split open. He's bleeding. Andrade's taking a beating. I mean, these guys are beating the hell out of each other. It's entertaining for what a street fight is. You let the shit go in a street fight. Things are getting sloppy, and it's a street fight. It's okay.
And Cody Rhodes, though, he's such a fucking cheeseball. And these people, Atlanta, Georgia, Cody Rhodes' hometown. I felt bad for him at first because I would say 66% of the crowd is booing Cody Rhodes in his own hometown. But once this next segment in the match happens, I get it. I would have booed him too. First things first, Andrade splats Cody in the face with a chair. Cody blades and then just has to find the nearest camera and accent his head towards the camera like, look, I'm bleeding. I'm bleeding, guys. I juiced. And then, Brian, Cody, you fucking cheeseball, reaches under the ring, pulls out a sledgehammer.
Oh, God,
It's
I
like,
have that,
okay.
yes.
We get it. We get it. You're referencing Triple H, Cody. You did it already once. Enough's enough. And then he reaches back under the ring, Brian, and what does he pull out? The golden shovel.
Wah, wah,
Because
wah.
Triple H is known for burying his opponents with a golden shovel. And just give it up, Cody. I don't think he's necessarily taking shots at Triple H at this point. I think he's just poking fun at people making references. But Jesus, enough is enough.
Yeah, I made the comment in my notes here. It said, "We get it, Cody." Triple H did not like either one of you because you have Andrade there as well, right?
Right. You're just beating a dead horse at this point, Cody. And I don't know what he's going for anymore, but I'm glad the crowd booed him.
Yeah, he had a big boo. Like you said, a good 60% of the crowd seemed to be more against him. Andrade, at one point, he gets the weight belt off of Cody, and he whips it. Andrade whips it into the crowd. Now, last week, it got thrown back. And that was like the big fuck you, right? The crowd's turning on Cody. And if you notice, they were chanting, "Throw it back." The people on the hard cam were chanting, "Throw it back." You could kind of hear it. If you watched, you could see everybody looking at the guy, and they're doing they're all pointing at the ring. And I'm assuming whoever caught it, balled it up, put it in their lap, and sat down and said, "Oh, fuck you, man. I'm keeping this thing." And then you got a big boo out of nowhere. So they were pretty mad. They kind of killed the gimmick. It was the second week this thing was supposed to be alive, right? And it died on the vine. So we'll see if it can come back in the future. But the wrong guy. When you're split 50-50, it was like catching a John Cena shirt. Sometimes it came back. Sometimes it didn't.
It is what it is.
Yeah, so hopefully it can come back because I thought that was a pretty cool gimmick and really insulting Cody. So we shall see how that goes. But yes, the golden shovel, and then the sledgehammer. Then they didn't even get used.
Not at all. He just kind of tossed him to the side like, look what I did, guys.
Like he's fucking Gallagher over here. Or he's fucking Carrot Top.
Carrot
Ooh,
Top.
look at me. I've got the golden shovel. Like, get out of here. Who cares?
Yeah, that whole segment ate a dick. But we're wrapping up on the end of this thing. A pretty cool spot with Cody sitting in the corner. Andrade has a chair set up right against Cody's face, and he puts his all into that running knee. I know these guys know how to work. I know they're professionals, but just this thing was set up perfectly where that running knee into the chair, into Cody's face, looked absolutely brutal. I ate that up.
It did. What really sold it is that Cody held it there so it didn't fall over because they couldn't get it wedged into between the ropes. So that also helped sell it very well, that it didn't really hit his face too hard.
Right. And back to old Tazaruni here. Taz just pointing out people's flaws. Twice, Andrade is putting a table through the ropes to put it into the ring, and he's putting it in the wrong way and getting the table legs caught on the rope. Shivani's pointing out old wrestlers that lost their eyeballs to table legs.
And here we go.
It's just a shit show.
Taz is going, he did it again. He's going, Taz just talks. Like, Taz doesn't commentate. He's not the character Taz. He was just Taz. Whatever his real name is, I don't know. He's just Taz. And he just goes, why didn't he turn it over? You got to turn the table over. You put it in the... he did it again. Jesus, he's just pissed. Like, it was pretty funny.
I love Taz. Just giving away the gimmicks.
Yeah, you got to turn it over. You're going to get the legs caught in there. You're never going to get that out of there. We'll just shove in the corner, I guess, huh?
Well, Andrade ends up hip tossing Cody through one table. Another table gets set up with pure cooperation as Andrade and Cody fought over the table.
They were
get set up perfectly.
The commentators set it up like you're going to see a tug of war. So you're going to see it back and forth, a shove into this gut, a shove into that gut is what you're starting to see. This commentator set it up and take you that way. And then, like a love story, these two lock eyes, Andrade and Cody, from across the table, and they look at each other and they both go, why should we fight over this table? We should set it up together. And they both bend over, open the leg, set it down like two men in a truck moving company, and they just say, that's it. We're done. We're not going to fight over it. They didn't shove it back at the other guy. They just set up the table and went around the table politely like it was Thanksgiving dinner, and they had to set up the extra table in the living room so the cousins could have dinner.
It was just ugly. It was just...
For a brutal street fight, for guys that brought blades and knives and chains and golden shovels and everything else, they set up a table really politely together. I mean, they worked very well. They could gel together. They could have a career outside of this.
Cody, after the table's set up, Cody's tuckered out, and he just lays down on the table. And
He's
lays
tuckered
down.
out.
Cody lays down for a nap so Andrade can climb to the top rope. And Andrade, their timing is just all over the place. Andrade having to perch up on the top rope there for a while Cody decides to get up from his nap and clean out his eye boogers. And then they just sit up on the top rope together and they trade blows and kick each other's feet out from each other. And we're just waiting for Brandy. Brandy doing her best impression of Vicky Guerrero.
Where the fuck is Vicky? If you don't know what that is, Google where the fuck is Vicky, and you'll see Eddie Guerrero getting mad about Vicky not hitting her cue in a ladder match they were having. I forget what the pay-per-view it was at, but nonetheless.
So this was more like where the fuck is Brandy, as these two idiots play around on the top rope. Brandy Rhodes ends up showing up. She's in a hoodie over her face. She's got an AEW face mask on. She reveals her identity, expecting a pop, and receives crickets instead. Pulls 2 cans of Zippo lighter fluid out of her hoodie. Proceeds to empty both of them motherfuckers onto the table. This table looked like a swimming pool by the time Brandy Rhodes was done with it. She pulls out her grill lighter, lights the table on fire, and this fucking table is a blaze, Brian. This was no steady flame. This was a 4-alarm 9/11 fire at this point.
Yeah, they really went all out on that fire, and then you could see why they have the gimmick on his back. You know, now mind you, Taz didn't know about this stuff. He came from ECW. They had $9 to work with. They just literally lit tables on fire and put you through them, and hoped you were wearing a T-shirt that day because you were gonna get caught on fire. So, yes, they get up, they get set up for this big superplex that they had going on here through the table.
Yeah,
and well. Andrade completely misses the table. Cody's the only one that goes through it, but yet it hit. Andrade hit so hard that he still got the pin and was looking up at the lights at the end of the night.
Yes, Andrade just hits the mat, a nice little 3 feet fall onto the mat, and he's writhing in pain. Cody, on the other hand, has the coating of the table, which melted off and stuck to his skin. So Cody has patches of flaming table all over his back, arms, and legs.
Yes, Paul Turner is panicking. Not knowing. I mean, I won't even hit the Paul Turner's a moron button on this one because there's a man on fire in front of you. And if you go back, I rewatched it. If you go over to our TikTok, the KayFabe Smark, I made one with the sound of the, oh no, our table, it's broken. And I had to watch this clip about 10 times to get it lined up right. And you can see Andrade wiping Cody's shoulder because he could see a flame on there again. So it's like, he just said, fuck it. I mean, I got to help my buddy. I mean, I don't care who you are. You're on fire, dog. Like, I got to put you out. And Paul Turner gets the flames off of Cody. Cody's all put out. He looks like he's no worse for the wear. And it's a 1-2-3. Andrade counting the stars of a busted table. And there you go. No golden shovels. Cody doesn't get the golden shovel treatment when he buries guys, though, when he beats everybody that he wrestles.
No. And then just to touch on Paul Turner, just Fireman Turner here. He's got the fireman. We go off the air with Paul Turner stomping out the table to try and put it out because we don't want a great white Chicago incident going on in the AEW arena here in Atlanta.
No, yeah, the canvas was probably catching on fire. Everything involved, like, that was going to be a mess. Like, they really should have probably worked that out in practice one time.
All you need, Brandy, is a light coating of flammable liquid on the table.
Like an S. From one corner, curve it around the center, back to the opposite corner, and that would have been fine.
She emptied a couple gallon jugs on that.
She put out diesel.
Brandy was trying to kill people. Brandy's the real psychopath in this street fight.
She put out diesel fluid. She put out diesel gas and just lit that bitch up. Like, my God. Why don't you put a couple M80s on there, too? Some gunpowder and a quarter stick of dynamite. Bingo, bango. We're blowing people up. That's an exploding ring. They didn't want to fail on that exploding ring gimmick, though. Like, they went for it. They're like, we got to do this. They couldn't be like, they just put they're like, no, this table's going to be ablaze. We're going to make them forget the exploding ring. We are going to burn this place down.
Ugh. That about wraps it up, Brian. Ugh.
Ugh. Yeah, they went for it. God bless. That was AEW. That was the December 1st episode of Dynamite. And, man, make sure you guys head on over to all the social media platforms. Check out TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Like, subscribe, and share. If you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, send it to a friend. Hit the review button. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. TikTok, we're trying to go live. We're posting lots of videos. We're having fun. It's all about pro wrestling. It's just fun, people. And submit your questions and get your would you rathers in there. Get your overrated, underrateds. I'll throw you in there. I'll plug your name. Get you in however you want to get it done. So, Eric, what do you have for us after all that nonsense?
That about wraps it up, Brian. So for you, Brian Rampa, for our resident snooze and pit bull, Stella Marie, and for me, Eric, I got nothing else to say other than hooty hoo. We out the gates.